Good morning, my good listeners, and I really thank you for what you have done. That you're subscribing, listening, commenting. I appreciate everything about it. So, as a reward, here comes the next chapter Monster by Blackwing. A daring dive and a royal combat. Well, shit. I didn't think that through, Nightshade said calmly. Now that his initial freak out at falling had worn off, he knew that screaming his head off wouldn't help anything, and he needed to think something. It was 2 mile fall, and he had plenty of time and nothing else to do. Hey, how did the talk with the princess? What the heck? Are you flying? A familiar voice popped up into his head. No, Lyra, I'm actually falling to my death, in fact. And the talk did not go well, he responded. What happened? I love to answer that question, but I have more pressing at the moment. Even though he saw his immediate death, he had lost his attitude. That what happens if I die and you are in my mind? I don't know for sure, but you're welcome to sit back and find out. See ya, I'll talk you later, if you're not dead. Lyra sounded way too happy when she said that. Finally, she was gone, when he was able to think again. Okay, so when I hit the ground, I'm going to have a massive injuries. Definitely enough to kill me. Since I can see grass down there, it's soft dirt, so at least I'm not going to splat when I hit. I'm probably in one piece. That's a good thing. Same was got splattered. There's no way amount of life force to keep him up for long anyway. You have to put back together first. If I land legs first, I can minimize the damage on my upper body. But I still have my spine to worry about. I can only heal wounds that I already have. But once I have them, I won't be able to do anything about them. Realizing that he was about to die. Yes, I know it's a cliche. His life flashed before his eyes. Could see that one coming. He saw his friends try to kill him. He saw the soldiers that he defeated. He saw right up to the moment with the polymer suited troops. And how he drew their energy out with nowhere to go. It just went back into them. Suddenly he stepped out of it. Hey, wait a minute. I could do that. I'd be able to heal these injuries even when knocked out. God, no good. I don't have the energy to give off in the first place. Then he got an idea. He figured that he could manipulate stamina, health, and lifespan. That they most of all related somehow. And so, probably interchangeable. He took 15 years of his own life and broke it down into health. Having no more health than his body could contain, the excess flowed around him as a kind of green mist. Since he has nowhere to go, it's stuck to him, trying to find a way back into him. Alright, it's going to hurt a lot. He put his aim in front of his head, crunched up his legs so that his limb would take the brunt of the damage, leaving his core least harmed. Here goes nothing. Ouch. Thud. Meanwhile, in Canterlot Castle, Princess Celestia was laying on the ground, unable to get up, and unable to use her magic. This was, in fact, far most embarrassing thing that ever happened to her. That human, Nightshade, had been the most impulsive, incredible, insane creatures he ever have seen, with obvious explanation that being Pinky. To attack a princess, then jump out the window into 2 mile drop. He was either really brave or really stupid. There was no way she could take this lying down, even though she was at the moment. So, Luna! She called, her sister appearing before her. After teleporting into her room, yes, sister? She saw her elder sister lying on the ground, trapped by a magical hoof cuff, and couldn't help but fall over laughing. Luna, you are quite finished. Our guest has escaped. Luna regained her composure. How? She asked. How do you think? Said the now furious Celestia. I would be that too if I were. Motioning towards the broken window. Should I get the guards to set you free? Luna asked, which she was giving a stern response. No, no pony else is allowed to see me like this. It's humiliating. I'm the princess, and I was outsmarted by a forest monster, a human no less. Celeste was fuming mad, but also blushing uncontrollably. All right, I'll get the key. Seriously, the Prince of the Sun taken out by a common pair of magic cuffs. Never thought I'd see the day. Luna got the keys from the guards, insisting that he would stay outside and free her sister. Lying on the ground, a green mist settling in his body, Nightshade found that he was very much alive, though a great deal of pain. Everything hurt. His head hurt, his legs hurt, his chest hurt. Both his arms were broken in several places, and he had a few shards colored glass lodged in his back. Yes, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, he screamed as he jumped for joy. Ow, 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 ow. Bad idea. Now I just need to find a forest so I can rest and recover. Then I will be right as rain. He looked around. He saw the vast plain of all direction, and a crossroad. Reading the signpost, he figured which way to Ponyville was, and started his long journey back. 1 hour later. Man, I'm sore. He complained to nobody in particular. He just talking to himself from the fact that he had been alone for a long time, as well as from dealing with Lyra, who would sometimes be listening, even if he didn't know she was there, deciding that he could use a bit of company on his journey. He opened up his mind to find Lyra, but found Celestia. Apparently, she didn't know that she was broadcasting a thought for anyone of a inkling of psychic ability to pick it up. Probably because she was too pissed to remember to stop doing it. When I found him, I'm making pain for humiliating me and for breaking my stained glass window. I can't believe it did that. I'm going to have a look for him all over again, Celestia ranted. How do we know that he's even still alive? He can't fly. And that was 2 mile drop, came Lula, the voice of reason. I had a guard check for the whole area. He's nowhere to be found. He must be out there. He's probably heading back to Ponyville so he can escape into the forest. We'll catch him when he gets there. Celestia schemed. Should I alert the elements to come as well? No, they have done enough. I'll go to take care of this myself. Celestia mean business. Oh well, have fun, Luna joked. You coming too? Celestia grabbed hold of her sister. Rather than waiting for the carriage to bring them, she simply teleported over there. With that, her thoughts were gone. Closing off his mind, Nightshade said to himself, Thanks, ladies. Now I know where you're up to, and started his journey again. 3 days had passed. Twilight and her friend had returned home to Ponyville. Not knowing what both princesses were there, the 3 day journey had left Nightshade exhausted. He was used to being in the forest with plenty of life around to keep him strong. This was just a dirt road, with endless grassland spanning in all directions. Sure, there was plenty of grass, but the grass has only slightly more life force than bacteria, and would draining it would take too much effort. Besides, someone would notice suddenly massive patches of dead grass. Healing his injuries would have to wait till he was back in the forest. Scootaloo was worried about her dad. 3 days had passed since he had gone to Canterlot, and had still no word. She had gone back to the cabin to sleep, but it felt empty without him there. She spent a great deal of time with the Crusaders, because for the first time in a year she felt alone. Oh, sure he's alright, said Appleboo, in a southern accent, much like her older sister. The priest should have done anything bad to him. He's just probably taking a long time to explain things, and maybe seeing the city a bit. Yeah, don't worry a bit. I'm sure he'll be back soon, Sweet Belle said. Her voice no longer squeaky since she had grown up a fair bit. I sure hope so, said Skulu, depressed. He sure is taking his while. When he finally arrived at the edge of Ponyville, it was nearly dark. Nightshade lowered his mind block to try to see what's happening. Hi! Oh great! Look who's back! And I see you're not dead. That's a good thing, said Lyra. Nightshade didn't respond. Hey, what the silent treatment? She asked. While he didn't feel Celestia's presence, he couldn't be careful and waited till he was alone before talking. Celestia's looking for me. She's a telepath like you, and I don't want her to know where I am. I know they're in Ponyville, waiting for me to come back. I need some info, he explained. Larry told him there were several guards in town, while the normals weren't any, as Ponyville was a rather quiet place. She told him they were placed around the town entrance, as well as the entrance to the forest. He quietly thanked her for the information and closed himself off again. Sneaking around the town was easy. At night, his cloak blended in well with the shadows, so even Luna's night guards wouldn't be able to spot him. After all, there were gardens at the main entrance, but it's not like the town was walled. He passed by Fluttershy's cottage and noticed the two guards standing at the forest entrance. Easily putting them to sleep, he stuck past them into the familiar home. Once within, he passed his injuries to local wildlife, then went back to look himself in the pond. Oh my god, he whispered, shocked. His eye was sunken. Same with his cheek. It dawned on him that he hadn't eaten in 3 days. He also noticed that he didn't have wrinkles. He felt like his body was dredging. dragging. Bleh. Of course, he had used up 15 years of his life and hadn't replenished them. Finally, a grove of very strong trees, except all the lifespan from them. Again, while he was gaining 15 years of his life to the trees, it was more like 450 years. Draining them caused them to fall with a crash. Well, shit. Now they know I'm here, he said to himself. Noticed that he had already looked and felt better, as well as he ran home. On the way, he saw a very familiar flower, wrapping his hands in some torn piece of his coat. The poor thing that has been through so much already. I almost pitied it. He very gently secured it to his palm, taking care not to touch it with his skin. He arrived home. Skula was still awake. She couldn't sleep, not knowing what happened to her dad. Her heart leapt when she saw a familiar form walking up to the cabin. Dad, 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 Dad! She cried as he jumped into his arm. I was so scared. What happened? Well, the princess wanted to send me home. Not here, I mean where I came from. I didn't want to go, and we had a bit of argument, he said in a chilled tone, trying to be as cool as for his daughter as possible. An argument? She said, confused. Yeah, and involving me going through her window into a 2-mile dive fall. She threw you. She threw you through the window? No, I jumped after I tied her up. Couldn't let the guards catch me, couldn't I? She thought of her dad as awesome, but falling 2 miles when he couldn't fly was just downright impressive. Come on, let's go inside. I'm starved. So sooner that he has finished saying it, Nightshade heard a thump and looked at the edge clearing. He saw 2 massive life forces, and he knew exactly they belonged to. Skutu, go inside, don't come out, and don't look. It's about to get dangerous, he instructed. What do you mean? What do you mean? The princes are here, and they aren't happy, he said coldly. He wasn't going to lie. He was scared. Here he was about to face against both princesses. How in Equestria were the equivalent of God? Skulu on the other hoose couldn't believe it. Nightshade, who had saved her from the Timberwolf, then 2 manticores, and then from Gilda, and escaped the capital, was now going to have a fight with 2 most powerful beings in the world. While she respected the princess, he had taken her in, cared for her, taught her to fly. They may have been the most powerful, but he was the most awesome. Even Rainbow Dash didn't compare. I know you're there. There's no use of hiding. I can see you both, plain as day, he said, standing away from the cabin, knowing that the loss of element of surprise, which is not the element of harmony. The sister walked out of the cover of the forest. Since you know we are here, I assume you know us well, spoke Luna. You are here to kill me, said Nightshade, swallowing hard. No, we are just going to send you home, said Celestia. Same thing in my book. If I go back to my world, I might just be laid down and die. They will kill me without a second thought. I will be powerless to stop them. You said your parents sent all the humans away. All that once, then you tried to do it. You had to put your horn right on them. From what I can tell, you need physical contact to perform a spell. He returned. The sister was a bit surprising about his reason. That's correct. Just surrender and make this whole easier for every pony, said the elder sister. Yeah, every pony, but not for me, he shot back. Besides, I have been here for almost 2 years now. If Discord or whatever was going to escape using me as a source of power, he would have done it already. We cannot take the chance, said Celestia. So instead, you're just going to throw me away, push the problem onto someone else. Let's get something straight, princess. Celestia cringed at the word. He knew quite well that she hated formalities. You want me gone. Do it yourself. It may not be from here, but I'm here now. I'm your problem. You deal with it yourself. You want me out of Equestria? You have to kill me with your own 2 hooves. Luna was taken aback about this creature had said. Sure, was his world was bad. He had lived there for a long time before coming to Equestria. As for how he got here, they still don't know. But now he was. He was dead set on staying. Surely his world couldn't be that terrible. Celestia, however, had a determining look on her face. So be it. Celestia fired a shot of magic, knocking him to the ground. As he stood, she fired another piercing his shoulder, ripping it apart. Of course, she could not see his power before, although he extended them to her. She had no clue of the full extent. He simply healed his wound. Neither princess felt anything, although Luna noticed that her sister had a very faint, almost non-existent red mark on her shoulder. Standing up again, he said nothing. Charging at the Sun Princess, Luna flanked him and launched her own attack, knocking him off balance. He recovered the cartwheel and continued straight towards Celestia. He was getting closer and was smiling wickedly. Seeming closing this distance only one thing. He, he was confident. He knew something that they didn't, and he was going to use it. Luna charged and tackled him, pinning him to the ground. Using the royal counternote voice and shouted, "Surrender!" Being pinned to in mid, being yeah, sorry. Being pinned by the Midnight Mare, Nightshade struggled in vain. Finally, he stopped moving and said, "Sorry to do this to you. Nothing personal." Bringing up his left hand, he drove his palm into Luna's chest. She suddenly felt weak and fell over, allowing him to stand. Celestia looked in utter shock. In an instant, the human had downed her sister. "What? Luna!" she screamed, running over to her sister. Nightshade just stood there, confident, and showed his head. "Nightshade," he said. "The very same plant for which I took my namesake. I barely touched it, and I barely died. I had drained the life from all the plants around me just to stay alive. I took the name as a reminder that I hate poison. If left untreated, it can kill with a single touch, and it can spread to any who are near the one afflicted," said the human, explaining a rather odd choice of a name. "Your sister is a lot more durable and has a lot more life than I do, so even though she got a lot more of the poison, it just knocked her out. She'll wake up shortly and recover fully, given a couple of days." Celestia was furious. This human has tied her up, smashed her castle, and now hurt her sister. Celestia called on all her powers and brought a ball of energy to the tip of her horn. shining like a sun itself. Nightshade saw this attack and knew that if it hit him, there would be nothing left to heal. He would be reduced to cinders. Celestia launched the attack and dodged it skillfully. It went high, tearing into the roof of his cabin, catching it on fire and making the wall collapse. No! He screamed, realizing that Scootaloo was still inside. Celestia's rage disappeared as she watched her pony suddenly lose focus on the fight and run over to the burning debris, grabbing the still burning pieces and tossing them aside. Forget it, your house is gone. It can't be salvaged, said Celestia, her voice like ice. Idiot! He screamed. Celestia was taken aback, as she was not used to being insulted. Excuse me? There was somebody in here, he said, turning his head. Celestia looked and saw tears streaming down his face and felt a pit in her stomach. In a fury, she had used far too much power. It did not look what could have been caught by it. Because of her anger, it was very likely that someone has died. All because she was angry about being humiliated. That her very sister was hurt. Even though she would recover in a couple of days. Nightshade could pull out pieces of burning wreckage until he found what he was looking for. Scootaloo, slightly burned and was unconscious, having been hit on the head by a support beam. She wasn't breathing, pulling out of her fire. Nightshade was himself burning, but was still didn't care. Still engulfed in flames, he laid her down on the grass and went about healing her. He couldn't risk anything. He took all of her injuries onto himself, shrieking in pain as he did so. Scootaloo was fully healed, and Nightshade passed out. Luna awoke and seeing the burning scene before her. Using a still weakened power to put out the flame on both the house and the human. Because Celestia was still much in shock, that she almost killed an innocent pony. After finally being brought back to her senses, she walked up to the human, horn glowing, and prepared to send him home. Then something she never would have guessed happened. Scootaloo woke up and saw her dad laying next to her, badly burned, as well as charred remains of the house. Seeing Celestia walking up to him, with a cold look in her eyes, she knew what was going to happen. After all, she had lived in the forest as well and could tell by the eyes what Celestia thought. Move, Celestia ordered, staring the orange filly, standing over the now naked body, as his cloak had been burned right off. No, said Scootaloo responded. She was determined. I'm not going to let you hurt my dad. Both the princesses was stunned. Both. Okay, here's a problem. The princess were stunned. Dad? Is she insane? How could this creature be her dad? I have seen him. I have to send him back to his world. If I don't, I risk Discord getting loose, and then all of Equestria will be in peril. No, said the Pegasus, with even more determination. I'm not going to let you take him away. He has done nothing wrong. He only wanted to live in peace. She began sobbing. When I was thrown into the forest, he healed me. When I was attacked by Timberwolf, he protected me. When me and my friend were attacked by Manticores, he fought them all off of his own and got stung. He almost died protecting us. He saved me from Gilda, Scootaloo went on. Celeste was stunned once more. She thought this human simply a monster, something that needed to be got rid of. Did he really do all this? What's more, the feeling is the same that he was getting captured to protect. School continued. I didn't have any where to go, and he took me in. Looking back at the shared house, we built this house together. He taught me all about the forest. He worked for Zecora to pay for this, pay for the things I needed, so I could go to school. He taught me to fly. She became quiet at the last one. For a Pegasus, being taught how to fly was the greatest gift of all, except for one. He told me to call him Dad, family. At hearing Skulu go on and on about what the human had done for her, Celestia and Luna both were in tears in their eyes. Huh? When did she wake up? Uh, they had made the grave mistake. They wanted to get rid of the human because they thought he would bring chaos into the world and being aid to discord. What they didn't realize was that he had shown such great love to the one who seeked it so badly, that there was no way he could ever do such a thing. Even now, he went into the burning wreck of his home, pulled his adoptive daughter out of the flame, still on fire, thinking nothing of himself. He gave all he had to heal her, to make sure that she was safe, even though they were different species. He loved her as a daughter, and she loved him as a dad. The realization finally came to Royal Sisters. He wasn't some violent animal that needed to be caged or put down. He was a parent who would fight and give his life to protect his child. He didn't tell him about her because he knew since he was different, she would be mocked. He kept himself secret to provide the best life possible for her. And now he was dead. Celestia killed him. She had taken away the only one to ever show how this poor thing the love she needed. This sight made Celestia think back on her own family. How Discord had taken her away and Luna's parents. How much she hated him for it. Would this feeling grow up hating her? Had she become the very thing she despised? The thought weighted heavily on her, and she felt a sharp pain in her heart. Her thoughts were interrupted by a low moan. She looked back and saw Nightshade struggling to get up. He was still alive? He was badly burned. Several bits of his skin were black and falling off. His long brown hair was gone, and he had the bruises on his head. Several broken bones were coughing up blood. Skull rushed over to hug him, but he wailed in pain as she did. Celestia looked at his broken form in pity. She had caused this. Nature was right all along. He was in Equestria now, and he was her problem. Her responsibility. She walked up to him, as Gulu became defensive again, but was dismissed by Celestia's loving gaze. This time, she knew she was not going to harm him. She stepped aside, and Nightshade heard Celestia's voice in his head. I am wrong about everything. For the first time in my life, I have made a mistake that almost cost two innocent their lives. I hope you can forgive me. I'm the one who caused all of this, and now I'm going to fix it. She lifted him with his magic, placing his hand on her shoulder. Please, pass your injuries on to me. Give me your pain. Give me your sorrow. I want to make it all right. He looked at her with hazy eyes, and the color began to come back to his face. His wound healed, the bruises disappeared, and he no longer coughed up blood. His burn disappears. He was not fully healed. However, many pieces of skin had fallen due to the burns and were no longer present to heal. He would still need to be hospitalized before while he recovered. While Celestia had minor wounds, she still felt anguish and pain. After this all was over, many of the guards arrived at the scene, having seen the bright flash of magic, and came to investigate. Seeing a burnt house, the monster which they had been looking out for, being supported by a sickly-looking Luna, followed by slightly charred Celestia, and led by soot-covered but nonetheless healthy. They needed They didn't need any orders, and quickly sent for the four stretcher for each one. In the Ponyville hospital, Celestial, Luna, and Nightshade all had beds next to each other. Skulu was given the once over and told that she could go home. When she explained that she no longer had a home to go to, Sandy has been burned down. The hospital staff agreed to give her a room while the friends recovered. They were kind of had to. After all, they did have the both princesses here. After agreeing they would talk more once they all have recovered, they all headed off to sleep. In his dreams, Nightshade found not only Lyra, but Celestia and Luna as well. Oh jeez, not this again. And now you're both here too? What do you mean? Again, Luna asked quizzically. Oh, I forgot. You didn't know. Celestia, Luna, this is Lyra, my psycho psychic stalker. Hey, Lyra was a bit upset being called a stalker, but for the intent and purpose, it was true. She is the reason I could tell you were trying to get into my mind, although I didn't know Luna was a telepath as well. Well, normally I don't use my powers. 1,000 years with no point to talk will leave you rusty, Luna responded. Well, great. Now I got three of you in here. And since you all know me, I'm sure you're being able to pop in anytime you want by focusing on me. Just perfect. Even being in the hospital, he didn't lose his sense of humor. That, well, it's a party now, he said. For some reason, everyone expects him looking around to something pop out of nowhere and start rambling. When Nightshade decided that there was something that he had to do, he had to show this pony his world. Lyra, Celestia, Luna. While we are here, I think it's better to show my world, my history, and why I don't want to go back. That way, when we leave, you all have a better understanding of what I feel and why I feel it. A quick warning though, you all know the legends, and you've seen some things that you'd rather not. So if you feel like you can't continue or need a break, just tell me. They agreed. Bring up an image of a high school classroom, placing the three ponies in the desk, which Celestia found embarrassing and Luna found hilarious. Nightshade began. This is a map of Earth. Okay, that was quite interesting. And sorry for breaking up and stammering, staggering. Maybe the voice is not working as it should be, but I will continue because I think it's fun to read. So I see you in the next chapter when it gets out next time. And see you another time. Zoo signing off.